my friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. We're happy to have you. Please subscribe if you want to hang around and see some more exciting videos that I have coming up. But today I am going to talk about the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. In my previous videos, I have talked about the value resorts, the moderate resorts, the deluxe resorts, and the villas. And I wanted to do an entire video dedicated to the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground because it's a little bit different. So there are actual campsites and then there are the cabins. So the campsites are considered a value resort and the cabins are considered a moderate resort. And I will get into the differences in a minute. But to start with the campsites, like all of my previous videos, I have some prices for you. They're just to be used as a guideline. Don't use this as an actual quote, just for a guideline. And it is for one night from the October 8th to October 9th. And for the purpose of the quote, I just did 2 adults. So let's get started. The different types of campsites that are available for you at Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground are a tent or pop-up site, they're together in one, full hookup campsite, preferred campsite, and premium campsite. So there's 4 different campsites. So I'm going to read you the description of each one. So for the tent or pop-up campsite, Disney says, room for a pop-up camper or a camper van type vehicle and up to 2 tents. Accommodates equipment on a concrete pad up to 10 feet by 25 feet. Sleeps up to 10 adults. And that site, that's the tent or pop-up campsite, and for that one night was $79.88. The full hookup campsite, the description says, room for an RV plus a tent, accommodates equipment on a concrete pad up to 10 feet by 50 feet, so it is 25 feet longer than the tent or pop-up campsite. And also has sewage hookup, and that sleeps up to 10 adults. And the price for that was $106.88. Now the preferred campsite. When I started this, I wasn't totally sure on the difference between the preferred and the premium. So the preferred, if you're familiar with the other Disney hotels, guarantees you are close to typically the main building, food court, that type of thing. Now at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, or Campground, the preferred campsite guarantees you're in an area close to the marina. And I'll get into the marina in a bit. But it has room for an RV plus a small tent and accommodates equipment on a concrete pad up to 10 feet by 45 feet, has sewage hookup, and sleeps up to 10 adults. And the cost for that one came out to $114.75. And the last campsite, the premium campsite, has room for a larger style RV, accommodates equipment on a concrete pad up to 18 feet by 60 feet. So the concrete pad is, 8 feet wider and 10 feet longer than the other campsites. Well, I should say than the tent or pop-up site or the full hookup site. It also has sewage hookup and accommodates up to 10 adults, and the cost for that one came out to $123.45. So each site has water, cable TV, and electrical hookups. It has a picnic table and a charcoal grill. So the food options at the campground are, they have Trails End Restaurant, which is a table service restaurant, and they're open for breakfast, brunch, and dinner. We were there for, I think they used to serve lunch, or maybe we were there for brunch. I'm not sure. We've been there and we enjoyed it. They have quick service. They have the Chuck Wagon, which is a food truck style establishment, and P&J Southern Takeout. For snacks, they have the Meadow Snack Bar. For bar, they have Crockett's Tavern. And then they also have the Hoop-de-Doo musical review. So it's like table service, but it's more of a show. So in kind of the same respect that the Luau is a show, they also have that as well. And again, you do not have to be staying at a particular resort to eat at one of their restaurants. So you don't have to be staying at Fort Wilderness if you want to go see Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Review, for example. Anybody can eat there. They are connected to the Wilderness Lodge via a walking path. My husband and I have jogged and biked on that path many times. We've seen deer like right in front of us on that path. It's pretty cool. We have stayed at Wilderness Lodge several times, and whenever we're there, we run down the path, and then we check out at the campground. We check out the horses and the ponies, and it's kind of fun just to go check out the animals. So there is that as well. There are pony rides, but I'll get into that in a minute as well. In terms of pools, they have a feature pool with a water slide, which is the Meadow Swimming Pool, and swimming pool. But in that respect, they are the only value resort with a pool with a slide. They also have the Wilderness Swimming Pool. Again, no G. You can't have a G. It's swimming, and that is a leisure pool. So that's a quieter pool with no slide. So the afternoon kids activities with the DJ and the music and stuff will be at a feature pool typically, unless it's like closed for refurbishment. So other activities that they have at the campground are, they have a wilderness archery experience, which is for kids ages 7 and up, and that is $45 a person. They have the Tri-Circle D Ranch. Tri-Circle, Mickey head. The Tri-Circle D Ranch. They have Pony Dollars. They have Pony Dollars. It's a new kind of currency. They have pony rides, which is $8 a person. It's for ages 2 and up. Your child has to be able to hang on. They have to be less than 80 pounds and less than 48 inches. They have wagon rides, horseback riding, and these things, of course, there's an extra fee. Fishing, you can rent motorized boats, bike rentals. They have canoe and kayak rentals. They have basketball courts, volleyball courts. They have Chippendales Campfire Sing-Along and Movies Under the Stars. And you can also watch the electrical water pageant from the campground as well. And again, to take part in these things, you do not necessarily have to be staying there. My husband and I, when we were there in December, we stayed at Coronado Springs, but we went horseback riding at Fort Wilderness one day. It was a lot of fun. It's a trail ride. You go in a group. It was a lot of fun. So we've never done that before. That was on my list of things that I wanted to do. So that was really cool to do as well. And another fun fact, that is where they keep the horses that actually pull the trolley cars down Main Street at the Magic Kingdom. So not only do they keep them there, that's where they also bathe them. And it's kind of cool because you can go in the barn where the horses are kept and you can see I think they have their names on there. They have the type of horse they are. They have their diet, because they have a special diet for each horse. It's catered specifically to that horse. So one time when my husband and I were there in the morning, we saw a horse getting a bath, and we kind of talked to his caretaker a little bit, and she introduced us to the horse. And then we actually saw him working at the Magic Kingdom later that day. And we've since seen him, and I've gone up, when we were just there in February, I've gone up and I said, "Is this Titan?" And she said, "Yeah." So I recognized him. So it's kind of cool to see. But the horses that you ride, if you do the horseback riding, are much smaller than the horses that are pulling the Main Street trolleys. Thank gosh, because those horses are enormous. They're absolutely enormous. Okay, moving along. Slight horse digression. Okay, so in terms of parking, each campsite allows one motorized vehicle to park for free. Now, at the cabins, it's considered a moderate resort, so then you have the $19 per night parking. So the campsites are considered value resort, and that is $13 per night, but you are allowed one motorized vehicle to park for free at the campsite. You also have the option to rent an RV. Disney, I don't want to say is affiliated, works with a couple of companies to do that. They work with Luxurious RV Rentals and Meacham's RV Rental, if that is your shtick. In terms of transportation, you can take a boat to the Magic Kingdom, the Contemporary, or Wilderness Lodge. And like I said, you can also walk to Wilderness Lodge as well. You have to take a bus everywhere else. So anywhere else on property that you want to go, you have to take a bus. A big thing, if you've done any research into staying at Fort Wilderness, is golf cart rentals. Is a golf cart rental, singular. The way it works is you cannot pick it up before 1 p.m. and it must be dropped off by 11 a.m. You have to be 16, at least 16 to drive it, and you not only have to have a valid driver's license, but you have to have it on you while you are driving. Golf carts should be reserved in advance. They seat up to 4 people, and they are $62.91 per night. Now, you can also get golf carts that seat up to 6 people, but those you are not able to reserve. They're on a first come, first serve basis, and they're approximately $80 a night, so they're quite a bit more. Now, if you want to bring your pet and you are camping, you will have to request a pet-friendly loop, so pets are not allowed in every single loop, but you request a pet-friendly loop. And if you're in the campsite, not the cabins, the fee is $5 per night. In terms of shopping, Fort Wilderness has the Meadow Trading Post, and that is where you can do some shopping, and that is also where merchandise delivery pickup is if you have something purchased that you purchased in the parks and had sent to your resort. That's where you will pick it up. I have been in this store, and it's definitely a little bit different than your typical resort gift shop. They have a lot more food options because people are camping there, and they're a lot more likely to be cooking in their nightly accommodations than if you're staying in a typical hotel room. So they definitely have more food options as well. So if you plan on bringing your pet and you're staying at the campground, be sure to let Disney know ahead of time so they can place you in an appropriate location. The fee for a pet is $5 per night, and Disney says they're not allowed in a tent or pop-up, which would leave the RV that they are allowed in. I'm not sure if that... So you might be wondering if you are able to rent supplies from Disney, and Disney does have some supplies for rent. You can rent a cot, and my information, I'm not sure how old this is, but they say that the nightly fee is $6. You can rent a tent, and they say the nightly fee is $45. Firewood, which I guess is not really a rental, you can get a half bin or a full bin, $25 or $50 respectively. Generally speaking, whenever Disney has this type of situation where you're renting things, the supply is limited and it's on a first come, first serve basis. But it is always good to call ahead of time and ask, hey, am I able to reserve this? Sometimes it depends on the time of year. If you're going around Christmas time, for example, it might be different because of crowds. So it's always good to ask ahead of time. Moving on to the cabin portion of the campground, Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, so I guess it's the resort portion. The cabins can sleep up to 6 adults. Now, the price for that one night in October 8th to the 9th, priced out at $445.50, which to me is pricing more like a deluxe, and Disney's calling it a moderate. However, typical moderate resorts are holding 4 adults, possibly a 5th person under the age of 9 if you have the bunk size pull-down bed. But in this case, you can actually sleep up to 6 adults. So it's kind of like 1.5 rooms. So if you're looking at the cost per person, it really is more on par with a moderate resort. In terms of bedding, they have 1 queen bed, 1 bunk bed, and 1 double-size sleeper sofa. They used to have a pull-down Murphy bed from the wall, but that has since been replaced with the sleeper sofa. Like I said, it sleeps up to 6 adults. It has a living room and a bedroom, a full bathroom, private patio, a charcoal grill, what they're calling a modern kitchen. So it has a fridge, a dishwasher, a microwave and convection oven, and it has 2 countertop burners. You also have the option when you are staying in the cabins to pre-order groceries through Disney rather than going through like Garden Grocer or something like that. You do have that option. And the grocery list is like a pre-selected list. You can't just enter and pick anything, but they do have that option because again, they're assuming that if you're staying in a cabin, you're going to be cooking at least some of your meals. In terms of what the cabins have, they have quite a few kitchen utensil items. They have toasters and they have all the flatware and dishes you would need. Let's see what they have. They have a can opener, a cutting board. They have pots and pans, pot holders, sponges. Let's see, dishcloths. They have a fire extinguisher, a couple of packets of dish soap. They have paper towels. They have trash bags. They do not have, list they don't have is salt, pepper, sugar, or any type of sweetener, coffee filters, or small drinking glasses for the bathroom. They also have in the closet in the hall, a portable crib with a sheet, a broom, and a dustpan. You also have the option, if you want to stay in a cabin but need one that is accessible, to ask Disney, request an accessible cabin. They do have them. The last count I read was that they have 13 accessible cabins with a roll-in shower. If that is something that you need as well, it is definitely an option. Something else I should mention in regard to the campground, so put this in the campground section, are comfort stations. That's something that is obviously very important to people if you are camping. Disney has 15 comfort stations that are placed around the campground. Something else that is very important to campers are the comfort stations, of course. So Disney has 15 comfort stations located around the campground. They are air conditioned and thankfully, and have private showers and restrooms, laundry rooms, phones, and ice machines. So they're open 24 hours a day with the exception of the laundry. And obviously the laundry you have to pay for in case that weren't obvious, but you do have to pay for the washers and dryers, but they are there and available to you should you need them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground can be a little bit confusing because it's like 2 resorts in one, a value and a moderate all together. So they have some different rules, but then they share a lot of things like the pools and the dining and the transportation and things like that. But I hope this helped to answer some questions you may have about the campground. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys.